Welcome to Lesson 26, Part 3. So if you remember back in our formatting text, we're actually going to do formatting text and decimal places because we have a little quick fix in here. So remember how in here we had the floating point number and we put in 15 spaces or 15 slots for it? So what you could do is you can even put it in here and tell it to make it 0.2. So it's going to round this 647 to 65. So if you run it, and it does actually round that decimal. You can also do this with a string. So we have 8.22. If you run it that way, what it does is it truncates it. So it only prints the first two characters. So if you want to change it and only print a certain portion of the string, you could do that. There's also a couple of other options. So I'm going to put notes in here. So we have %F gives you floating point number, %E gives you exponential number, and %G gives you 4 significant digits. So if we just did that real quick, see how that worked. So we put an E there. It's 2.38E also 2. That's exponential. So it's actually changing that to whatever exponential number it would be. And if you put in a G there, it only gives you 4 sig figs. So 2.4, so it rounds it, and then it gives you it as an exponent. So I'm going to change it back to F, but those are there for you just in case you need them. So let's say that this space, you want it at the end. So what you would do is in your format, you would do minus 15.2. So let's run it. There it is. All right, so I put in this note for you guys just so you remember it. Okay, so let's make this number a little bigger. So it's 1,237. Do not put a comma in there. Do not put a comma, do not put a comma. Java does not like your numbers to be spaced out with anything except for periods that signify decimal places. Commas are going to mess up your program, and no one likes it when their Java program does not run. So the problem is, if this is money, we want the comma there. We want to see that comma. So in our formatting over here, right next to our minus, put in a comma. It will know exactly where to go. The other thing you can think about for that minus sign is justify. So, in Word where you right justify, left justify. So putting the minus in there, left justifies. Leaving it out, right justifies. So just kind of think about it like that. But we're still talking about the comma. So let's go ahead and run it and see how the comma works. Yeah, we got a comma. Now, if you forgot to change this back to an F, you probably got a runtime error. So make sure that is an F and not an E or a G, and you should be okay. So another thing you could do is if we took out this left justification and put in a 0. So what this is going to do is, you see how we have all of that space? It's going to fill all those spaces with zeros. So let's see what that looks like. All right, so we did take off the left justification, so it did that. But now we have a field of exactly 15 characters as we described here. So a field is kind of just like a place where we go and we set the size, kind of like an array, but not really. So we have a field of 15 characters and all of the blank spaces are filled with zeros. This is really useful if you need to test your spaces and make sure that they all printed out correctly. So this is all well and good, but there's something even more handy that I'm going to show you. You can actually delete your formatter, take all the stuff that's in this format. I'm going to go ahead and copy it, and then comment that out. Because we have lots of good notes up there, and I don't want you guys to lose that. Paste it in your print line. Get that going. Then print ln, and then do F. This signifies that it wants to use a format. It says there's an error here because it just needs to be printf. So print ln to print a line, print f if you want to print something with formatting. So I'm going to make a note of that down here. And look, now we have one line for all this, where we used to have 1, 2, 3, 4. So it does simplify things a lot, and this is very common with programmers. All right, so that is it. So let's go ahead and run it. And it prints exactly the same thing we did before. Awesome. So now for lesson 26, you have some questions on Moodle, and you also have 2 projects for this. Good luck. Let me know if you have any questions.